Section 6, FDI Strategy and Investment. What we'll talk about in this section is a comprehensive community FDI plan, including a strategy for building investment incentives, workforce development, responding to an investor's needs, and infrastructure planning. Now, the majority of you guys, if you've listened to the previous course, you'll have seen and noticed that strategy plays a big role in everything that you do to support your community and to support your organization. But what we're going to learn during this segment is what factors you should be considering investing in. Understanding which location decision factors you can influence, and developing screening criteria that'll help support your FDI strategy and investment plan. In order to develop an FDI plan, you really have to understand the challenges or the pain points that companies have globally. So one of the things that we've done in our research is to understand the top 20 factors in business location decisions. Factors 1 through 10 include highway accessibility, occupancy or construction cost, available land, available buildings, availability of skilled labor, labor costs, right to work state, meaning there's no unions, proximity to major markets, energy availability and costs, corporate tax rates, tax exemptions, state and local tax incentives, permitting, a low union profile, inbound and outbound shipping costs, environmental relations, regulations, availability of long-term financing, training programs, access to a major airport or ports, and proximity to a college or technical training. So these are among the factors that companies consider challenges when locating in communities. Now, these challenges have changed over time and will continue to change. In some cases, workforce is the #1 factor for some communities or for some companies. In other cases, it's the #2 or the #7. But let's just look at what Jones Lang LaSalle, a global leader in corporate investment, says. So one of the things that we noticed is that real estate makes up 3 of the top 10 factors when locating a business to a particular community. Is there high occupancy or construction costs? Is there available land? Are there available buildings? As you develop your FDI plan, you should note the number of available buildings that you have in your community, the parcels of available land that you have, and roughly what the occupancy or construction cost would be to build in that particular community. The second thing that you should note as you build your FDI plan are what are the demographic and labor force factors. For Jones Lang LaSalle, these factors are 7 out of 20. They include the availability of skilled labor, labor costs, being in a right-to-work state, proximity to major markets, having a low union profile, training programs, and proximity to technical college. Now, what I'll point out about this is among the different data sets that communities have or organizations have, the availability of skilled labor is arguably one of the most important data sets that you can show. Do you have the people that can do the work? If you don't have the people that can do the work for a particular industry, then it says the need to have a college or a technical university that can supply you that talent. So you can't attract a particular labor-intensive company, highly skilled company, without having the workforce to do it. And if you don't have the workforce to do it as you go through this approach or these factors, then you need to build that into your strategic plan for FDI. Another thing that I would point out is labor costs. Labor costs are also a critical piece of data. In some cases, consultants or companies aren't really aware of what labor actually costs in a particular market. Sometimes they take general numbers about what has been done in Europe, what has been done in the country, but they don't necessarily drill down and look at what the labor costs are in a particular region. So helping them identify that data and supporting that data is going to be really important to building out this strategy. Now, how would you build an FDI strategy and an investment screening profile? We started this course by talking about how to profile companies. Now, companies, as you may know, have a bunch of different sectors. Those sectors can include recycling, IT outsourcing, cloud computing, medical devices, food packaging. They're very specific sectors. Now, one of the things that you can do as you start to incorporate this into your plan is identify whether or not that particular subsector of a company is growing or shrinking. Is it growing? Is it staying the same? Is it shrinking? The next thing that you can look at to see and incorporate in your FDI plan is, do they have greenfield FDI examples? Have they already invested in different countries or in greenfields for FDI? Thirdly, do they have enough companies to consider expanding or relocating again? And then fourth, is it a definable target group? Do we know which types of companies are in that sector? And lastly, are they a good fit for the region? So in this case, you can see that for this particular region, data centers, big data software and analytics, and cloud computing was not a good fit for this particular region. Going through this FDI strategy and investment screening process will help you lay the framework for a larger strategic initiative that ultimately will tie into your marketing program and your communications plan. But understanding the different factors available, as we talked about earlier, from demographic and labor to real estate, is critical to building out this plan.